Presidency.
Thank you, Excellency. You may wish to present your speech.
Ignore. Leave it.
Your Excellency, Chief Edward David Onoja, Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Honorable Speaker, Kogi State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Prince Matthew Kolawole, Principal Officers and members of the State House of Assembly here present. My Lord, the Chief Judge, Grand Cadi, and President, Customary Court of Appeal, Kogi State APC Chairman, Haji Abdullah Bello, Party Chieftains, and stalwarts here present. The Secretary to the Government of Kogi State, Dr. Mrs. Ayode Folashade Afrique, the Chief of Staff, Pharmacist Mohammed Karim Jami Asuku, the Head of Service, Mrs. Hannah Odio, Deputy Chief of Staff, Honorable Sunday Faleke, the State Security Advisor, Navy Commander Jerry Hodder, retired, Head of Security Agencies in Kogi State and other representatives and their representatives here present, the Algon Chairman, Honorable Tafik Isa and the Ijumu Local Government Chairman and other local government chairmen here present, the Honorable Commissioner for Finance, Budget and Economic Planning, Honorable Idris Ashiru Asiwaju, and all the Honorable Commissioners here present. The Special Advisor on Assembly and Legislative Matters, Honorable Haruna Musa Idoko, and all other special advisors, senior special assistants, political appointees, and top government officials here present. Chairman, Kogi State House of Assembly Service Commission, Honorable Anders Abdumali, and other members of the Commission. Chairman of State Commissions, boards, agencies, and parastatals here present. Your Royal Majesties and Highnesses here present. Captains of industries and leaders of the organized private sector here present. Opinion holders and leaders of thought here present. Representatives of non-governmental organizations and civil societies here present. Management and staff of Kogi State House of Assembly, my Lord, spiritual and temporary, my dear good people of Kogi State, both at home and in diaspora, other esteemed invited guests, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members of this great house, I am honored to stand before you today in pursuit of our joint mandate to run an effective and efficient government for the people of Kogi State. Accountability and open governance start with timely and transparent showcase of government income, proposed expenditure plan, and levels of performance. In pursuit of that objective, we are here to present the 2022 draft budget for a user-frank review and approval. This is for me also an opportune moment to appreciate this great House for her excellent grasp of the principles of separation of powers and the interplay of checks and balances between the three arms of the same government, as constantly displayed in her partnership with the executive and judicial arms in Kogi State. The maturity of this House and her members shines forth in the absence of contrived conflicts and engineered misunderstandings in the executive legislature relationship in Kogi State. Even when the available finances have not met expectations, this wonderful House has had no problem participating with us in self-denial and enabling and the foregoing of some official privileges. This has enhanced the enabling environment, allowing our administration to focus on the big issues of service to the people. These are the bonds we must all continue to work together to strengthen and, most importantly, build on as we work to deliver the great goods to the greatest number of our people. We are all aware of the challenges presently confronting not just our state, but Nigeria as a nation. The COVID-19 pandemic has yet to relax its full grip on the collective jugular of the nations of the world. The socioeconomic ravages of the disease is showing no signs of significant abatement. At a point in the year 2020, our biggest revenue source, as the crude oil, came to a scary low of $17 per barrel against the projected assumption of $65 per barrel. This squeezed our income, increased inflation, heightened the cost of living, worsened unemployment and insecurity, and added fuel to different agitations. Along with the rest of the globe, Nigeria, and of course Kogi State with her, feels the disruption and setbacks reverberating at all critical points along the governance value chain. It was against this dismal backdrop that we dared to present, and you had the courage to pass, our budget for the outgoing fiscal year 2021 budget, tagged Budget of Accelerated Recovery. Our optimism at the time came from deploying a homegrown and constantly evolving synergy between science and common sense and medicine and governance, which we had adopted in responding to the pandemic from inception. Initially, our determination was simply to put a stop to COVID-19 from turning into the humanitarian crisis it was predicted to become by global and domestic regulators, even merchants, at least not in Kogi State. As time went on, and we saw the coronavirus disease decimating citizens of even first world nations, while their government looked on helplessly, it became clearer to us that we just could not afford to have it enter our state, much less run amok among our people and economy. I am delighted to say, as you are all well aware, that we successfully prevented the disease from taking root here, and simultaneously eliminated the worst of the economic disruptions associated with it, particularly from restrictions, lockdowns, and fear-driven wastage of scarce financial resources. Our method drew anger, mockery, both at the beginning, depending on who you ask. But we have since been vindicated to the glory of God. Our success was only possible by the resilience of our people and the vote of confidence they passed on us as government by trusting our judgment and following our lead. Collectively, it represents a defiant refusal to collapse in the face of the severe storm which befell us. On the 23rd of October 2021, we completed work on the 55-kilometer Ayimba, Edule Umomi Ugolao Ajaka Idaho in the Eastern Senatorial District. It joins the Ganaja flyover and interchange, the Lokoja, Okene and Kaba Township roads, the reference hospital in Okene, district hospitals in Badoko and Gegu, the Prince Abubakar Audu University Teaching Hospital, Ida, an ultra-modern clinic complex in Isalu, which, along with many other roads and projects across all sectors in the three sectoral zones, to bear eloquent testimony that 2021 was indeed a watershed year for infrastructural development in Kogi State. It is also proof of our ability to confront difficult times and situations with foresight, courage, and determination. In line with our new direction agenda, our administration remains committed to probity and accountability in the utilization of the state's scarce resources. This has made it possible to stretch a lean purse to accommodate massive outputs. As a government, we are constantly challenging what we are doing with a view to doing them better. No doubt, our best still lies in our ability to harness the high-quality human capital with which we are so abundantly blessed. This is why in the year under review, we assembled some of our best minds into the Kogi State Economic Council to help us think outside the box and harvest ideas that will propel the state to greatness. It is clear from the foregoing that the overarching objective of a good governance budget is not the percentage of its implementation, which is often subject to the vagaries of factors external to its intent, purpose, and application. A good budget is defined by how deep it taps into the existential realities of its target polity and by the tangible changes it's able to make in the life of the people during its lifespan. It is on this premise that we have named our budget 2022 the budget of accelerated results. This budget is designed to achieve important macroeconomic goals while ensuring effective delivery of good governance as a public service. It will focus on results rather than activity, benefits to the people rather than amount expended. The 2022 budget of accelerated results has inbuilt mechanisms to enhance implementation. The budget performance is premised on fair and equitable distribution of available resources amongst our diverse constituencies. We have made that it is set up to maximize extra-budgetary expenditure and assist compliance with best budget practices. Its objectives and principles are in tandem with the principles of medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, as well as Fiscal Strategy Paper, FSP, approved by this Honorable House. In line with our electoral promises to do more, we will continue to implement the new direction blueprint by focused intervention in the expanded thematic areas to wit: education, health, infrastructures and utilities, youth empowerment and employment creation, civil service and pension reforms, security, agriculture, human capital development, as well as cooperation and integration. As has become customary with our budget in this administration, the principal aim of the 2022 budget of accelerated results are wealth creation, poverty reduction, employment generation, conflict resolution, peace building, and to enshrine fairness, transparency, and accountability in the governance of the state. I pledge to an honest, realistic, and sustained implementation of the year 2022 budget as usual. In order to keep this undertaking and to avoid derailment by any means, we have factored into this budget policies, outcomes, and targets consistent with those sustainable development goals identified in our blueprint documents as most urgently needed by the larger spectrum of our populace. These are in turn targeted at specific milestones for reduction of poverty across the multidimensional poverty index in our states. Topmost of our list of good governance initiatives is to widen and accelerate the provision of basic amenities for the masses. Many have, of course, been completed and released for use by the people in both rural and urban areas over the last 6 years. Many others are currently under construction and have made plans to complete them on schedule. Many more will be commenced and completed before the end of this tenure. It is one thing to craft a beautiful budget. It is entirely a different kettle of fish to find the funds to give it life and effect. On our part, as the executive arm, we will continue to explore traditional and extraordinary avenues for improved revenue, simultaneously strengthen our award-winning anti-corruption measures, and relentlessly cut down on waste of all resources. In 2021, we secured critical recognition as an oil-producing state. We should begin to add more money to our coffers as soon as production commences on our reserves. 2022 is the year we start wishing for that. At the last state Executive Council meeting, we also adopted several resolutions to increase our earnings from solid minerals. I am hopeful that by the time we bring the 2023 budget before you, 13% derivation from crude oil proceeds on our land will have increased our revenue streams alongside more returns on investment in solid minerals. We have also keyed fully into the economic recovery and growth plan of the federal government to ensure economic stability and quick, measurable results. Mr. Speaker, permit me to say that government earns its reputation from the goodwill and support it enjoys from the governed. Such goodwill and support derive essentially from the benefits the people enjoy from the policies of government that answers to the dynamic of our challenging economy. I am aware that this government has done plenty to prove our people that she is interested in enhancing those benefits. Thus, I call for your usual prompt cooperation in ratifying this budget so that the policies, programs, and projects contained in this budget proposal can be implemented for those we govern. The Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I give the details of the 2022 budget proposal, I wish to review the performance of the year 2021 budget and the modest achievements we made in the outgoing year. Highlight of the year 2021 budget performance. The total budget package for the year 2021 is 160.560 billion for both recurrent and capital expenditures. The recurrent revenue approved for the year 2021 was 99.328 billion, out of which 52.784 billion was collected as at the end of August 2021, representing 3.14% performance. The approved capital receipt for the year 2021 was 61.231 billion, from which the sum of 5 billion was realized, representing 8.18% performance as at the end of August 2021. A total sum of 88.084 billion was approved for recurrent expenditure in the year 2021. However, only 42.074 billion was spent as at 30th August 2021, representing 47.77% performance. The approved capital expenditure for the year 2021 was 72.475 billion, out of which the sum of 17.318 billion was expended, representing 23.90% performance as at the end of August 2021. Some of the ongoing projects embarked upon during the year under review are construction of reference hospital, Kogi, construction of CT and MRI block at the reference hospital, construction of perimeter fencing at the hospital, construction of oxygen plant at the reference hospital, procurement and installation of medical, clinical, surgical, laboratory equipment at the reference hospital, renovation and remodeling of many old hospitals, some are as old as over 100 years ago. Construction of modern general hospitals, Gebubeki, to Karimi local government. Construction of modern general hospital, Baloko, Ajakuta local government. Comprehensive renovation and remodeling of Kogi State Specialist Hospital, which I inspected recently. Construction of new ultramodern clinic complex in Prince Abubakar Audu University Teaching Hospital. Full accreditation of 24 programs presented for accreditation at the Prince Abubakar Audu University. Construction of 15-kilometer Okene Township roads. Rehabilitation of 14-kilometer Kaba Township roads. Construction and rehabilitation of Lokoja Township roads, Ganaja flyover and interchange. Ongoing asphalt overlay of New Market, Muritala Mohammed, Barracks, Kaba Junction Dual Carriageway, 4.7 kilometers. Construction of Ida Ukolawo Ejule Ayimpago, 55.5 kilometers. Ongoing construction of ultra-modern civic center, Lokoja. Maintenance of government quarters offices across the state, including police squadron unit at Oro. Renovation of government lodge across the state. Renovation of Ohina's Palace, Okene. Construction of UIB Model Science Secondary School, Okene, Adankulo, Lokoja. Remodeling of GSS School in Oboroke. Remodeling of Community Secondary School at Giolo, or Jaji. reclamation, channelization, erosion project in Agasa, remedial, channelization, and erosion works at Adum Road in Ogugu, channelization, reclamation, and bioremedial works in Oganiachi, construction and bioremedial work at Greater Lokoja Waterworks in Lokoja, construction and bioremedial work at Ozuri, to mention just a few. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as you can imagine, our moderate performance was adversely affected by the current economic situation in the country, which negatively affected our financial expectations from the various sources. In the light of the above, the year 2022 draft budget has been crafted to enhance internally generated revenue aggressively, pursue the implementation of the newly approved 13% derivation as oil producing states for the state, secure repayments of debt owed by the federal government, provide a more conducive environment for our development partners across the world to contribute to the state economy, especially by prompt payment of our counterpart funding obligations, mobilize private sector investment to the state, encourage public-private partnership, and most importantly, block all leakages in our revenue pots. Budget of accelerated results. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the 2022 to 2024 multi-year budget is resumed on zero-based budgeting principles, and it is tailored towards actualizing the development plan. The key targets in this budget from a fiscal perspective are ensuring the actualization of the development priorities of the government as articulated in the State Development Plan and respective sector implementation plan. Maintaining a favorable proportion of capital to the current expenditure. Completing all ongoing projects and adding new projects in areas of critical needs. Expanding revenue generation so as to reduce over-dependence on federation allocation. Maintaining a sustainable debt position, thereby reducing our state debt profile. Providing a conducive environment for investors and donor agencies to operate in the state. Enhancing greater transparency, accountability, and proper public expenditure management. Budget policy statement. The fiscal strategy of government is anchored on the ongoing public financial management reform. Over the period of 2022 to 2024, the state government fiscal policy will aim to 1. Improve the efficiency and effectiveness of spending. Gain greater control of the wage bill. Direct capital expenditure to critical infrastructures in roads, housing, education, and health, in addition to equally important thematic areas such as job creation, youth engagement, infrastructure and utilities, and public sector and pension reforms. Boosting revenue receipts by identifying and blocking revenue leakages alongside a deliberate program of gradual fiscal consolidation directed at achieving a level of public spending consistent with macroeconomic stability and sustainable debts. Human population growth, Kogi State leads the world. In the year 2021, as Kogi State, under our oversight, consolidated on her status as the safest state in the country, we have had tracked and attracted an inflow of human beings and investment into all parts of the state. But especially, into the local capital city territory. These are the identifiable reasons for this rapid growth, which includes: 1. Massive investment in security of life and property have proved irresistible to citizens seeking safe haven for their lives and businesses. Appreciation to our law enforcement agencies. Massive investment on our education sector has sponsored corresponding growth in student population across Kogi State. This is especially true as our regular and uninterrupted, by the grace of God Almighty, tertiary education calendar, wholesale and sustainable infrastructure renaissance in Kogi State Polytechnic and other tertiary institutions, elimination of cultism and other fear factors from our campuses, removal of end-stage academic uncertainty for scholars by the accreditation of dozens of courses in our state institutions, especially our state universities, and full accreditation of our nursing schools in Obangede. Still on education, the icing on the cake for us in the year 2021 is, of course, the establishment of a whole university, the Confluence University of Science and Technology, COSTECH, at Osara, particularly from the scratch. We have sure this brand new school went from conception. We made sure that this brand new school went from conception to confirmation to construction to curriculum activities under 1 year. It was designed and built to provide first-grade training in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, discipline for our teaming youth. Our plans for the institution in 2022 budget will greatly move it forward towards our aim of ensuring that it quickly becomes comparable to any similar school elsewhere in the globe by leveraging ICT and artificial intelligence, AI. Our vast natural endowment in arable land, waterways, solid minerals, crude oil, and human capital have caught the eyes of more and more people who moved in to settle and make a life amongst us. In fact, for a while the pendency of the 2021 budget will lead the entire country in the inflow of foreign direct investment. The phenomenon was also not unconnected with our firm and innovative stances against the novel coronavirus. Finally, the inflow of new residents and businesses into our state is also sponsored in the main by our huge stride as an administration in the provision of infrastructure and utilities across previously forgotten rural areas, along with urban renewal of local and other cities, particularly the traditional headquarters of our 3 senatorial districts and other principal towns. We are not just tooting our own horn or blowing hot air when we speak about this rapid growth of our state under the last 6 years of my new direction administration. Precious confirmation of this also came recently from no less a quarter than United Nations, which reported in 2021 that Lokoja is the fastest growing city on earth. According to the Wall Street Journal, which expanded on the UN findings, the population of Lokoja metropolis will grow 78% in the next decade, quicker than every other sizable town in the world. Quite easily done. QED. Budget objectives and targets. The growth statistics in the preceding paragraph should rightly make us proud. Our city, the city of Lokoja, has stagnated for over a century, since it became the birthplace of modern Nigeria in 1914, and was then left behind as other cities enhanced in the new nation. This neglect has gone on for far too long, and I am not just content to be superintending the new rising, but also to determine to make hay while the sun shines. This refers primarily to the sacred responsibility on me to put in place of structure on which this unprecedented growth can be accelerated, sustained, and harnessed over the next few decades. As I start heading towards the halfway mark in my second term, the need to avoid wasting and demographic dividend just outlined has given me reason to be even more careful about scrutinizing the vision and mission readiness of those within my succession plan. We have tried to think large and outside the box. The budget and our lofty aspiration have found expression in the objective and targets below. The specific fiscal objective is effectively allocation of scarce resources to identify critical programs and projects with the following as major targets. 1, to improve the quality of education at all levels and make it accessible to all citizens in order to produce the articulate and skilled manpower which we need to sustain economic growth and fiscal transformation of the state. To improve access to quality and free to affordable health care, leading to improvement in efficiency of the healthcare delivery system. To ensure food security and generation as high a proportion of the GDP as possible from agriculture. To exploit the full potential of our economy and expand trade and commerce in the state. To ensure that products from our agriculture and industrial activity has access to markets locally and internationally. To ensure gainful employment of youth and create opportunities for the development of their talents. To promote social and economic development through culture and tourism. To ensure the necessary framework for a robust mining and solid mineral sector, and to brand Kogi State as the foremost solid mineral mining destination. To improve the road network in urban and rural areas through construction of new roads and bridges and rehabilitation of existing ones. To improve the quantity and quality and access to safer water for the domestic, commercial, and industrial uses, as well as improve sanitation and hygiene practice among the citizens. To ensure sustainable use of environment and continuous management of environmental challenges such as pollution, degradation of lands, forests, and other natural resources, and gully erosion. To facilitate the social and economic development of the state by ensuring responsible access to land for agriculture, residential, commercial, and industrial uses to all citizens and investors. To improve the quantity of decent housing and facilitate the creation of viable urban communities in the state. To further clarify on our target for the healthcare sector referred to in number 2, above.
Point of order. I wish to move that the House suspend Order 5 Rule 23.1 to invoke Order 7 Rule 47 of the Standing Rule of the House to enable the House in beyond 1 p.m. I so move.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second as moved by the Chief Whip of the Successor Committee.
Distinguished honorable colleagues, That the House will suspend order 5.3.1 and invoke order 7.47 to enable us sit beyond this time. Say aye. Aye. Against any name? The ayes have it. Let's see if I continue.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. To further clarify on our target for the health sector referenced in number 2 above, let the House know that in addition to all I have reported in this speech about our turnaround effort in building and upgrading health facilities across the state, this administration also set up the Kogi State Health Insurance Agency and Scheme in 2021. Like I noted just this week, Monday 25th, at the House of Lords in British Parliament, where I was represented for a keynote address by Honorable Bello, the majority leader of this House. Our health insurance scheme will make sure that for the cost of treating one bout of malaria out of potentially dozens in a year, a family can now have a year-long health care coverage in Kogi State. It only remains to appeal to Mr. Speaker and honorable members to join us as evangelists of good health care to our constituents by encouraging them to sign up for the life-saving health care insurance. You can also sponsor some of them for about 12,000 a year per beneficiary. We must again thank this Honorable House for passing the enabling law for this insurance scheme with the customary speed that she never failed to exhibit when it comes to people matters. Mr. Speaker, let me undertake again on behalf of this administration that we will strive to complete every single project we have started in all of our 21 local government areas and to pay the contractors who are working for us. In the same way, we will continue to cut down the cost of governance and ensure that our people remain the ultimate beneficiaries of the public resources. Summary of the 2022 draft revenue and expenditure estimate. The summary of the draft 2022 revenue and expenditure estimate is as follows. The proposed 2022 budget has an estimated outlay of 145,896,072,913 naira. This total budget outlay of 145,896,072,913 naira is divided into recurrent expenditure of 90,151,291,251 naira, representing 61.79%. Capital expenditure of 55,744,781,662 naira, representing 38.21%. This is represented in the table below. Of course, the current expenditure item has a allocation of 90,151,291,251, representing 61.79%. While the capital expenditure has a allocation of 55,744,781,662 naira, representing 38.21%. A total allocation of 145,896,072,913 naira, representing 100% of both the items. Also, the total budget expenditure outlay is given in the following sector. The administrative sector has an allocation of 50,233,230,518 naira, representing 34.43%, while the economic sector has allocation of 41,926,235,949 naira, representing 28.74%. Law and Justice has allocation of 4,720,893,239 naira, representing 3.24%. And the social sector has allocation of 49,015,713,207 naira, representing 33.60%. A total of 145,896,072,913 naira, representing 100%. The total budget package. The total budget package for the year 2022 is 145,986,072,913 naira, as against 160,560,230,602 revised budget for the year 2021. This represents a decrease of 14,666,157,698 naira, or 9.13% when compared with 2021 revised budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the year 2022 draft budget for the year for your consideration and approval. The Honorable House is invited to note, 1, that we have budgeted a total estimated recurrent expenditure of 96,792,006,352 naira, consisting of 23,266,375,259 naira from internal sources, 49,586,957,264 naira as state share from the Federation account, 19,667,974,999 revenues from value-added tax, 100 million from excess crude oil, 1 billion from exchange differences, 500 million as a fund from federal government, 1 billion from non-oil revenue, 200 million from forex equalization, 120,698,829 from excess bank charges, 350,000 from budget augmentation, 500 million from solid minerals, and 500 million from ecological fund. Recurrent revenue for the year 2022 stands at 96,792,006,352 naira. Out of the above figure, the estimated personnel cost for the year is 45,119,725,532 naira, whereas 45,31,565,719 is overhead costs, thereby giving 90,151,291,292 251 naira as a total recorded expenditure for the year 2022. From the foregoing, we have a total estimated transfer surplus of 6,640,715,100 as capital development fund. The estimated capital received is 49,104,066,562, comprising capital receipt analysis by economy, aids, and grants. However, the transfer surplus of 6,640,715,100 is added to this amount. We shall have 5,744,781,662 naira as fund available for capital development projects. The total estimated capital expenditure therefore stands as 55,744,781,662. In summary, our total estimated revenue, that is, recurrent revenue and capital receipts, stand at 145,896,072,913 for the year 2022, making total estimated expenditure, that is, recurrent and capital, stands at 145,896,072,913 for the year 2022, making our 2022 budget a balanced budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, distinguished gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to formally present to you the 2022 draft budget for your deliberation and approval. I conclude with profound gratitude to Almighty God, appreciation to our people, and special mention of security personnel across the law enforcement agencies for standing together to minimize the incidences of insecurity for us here in Kogi State. Let us do more. We must all do more. However, we find ourselves part-time to keep our state and people safe. God bless Kogi State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I thank you all.
Try him. Listen. You told me.
When did you become CNC?
That's the attitude.